Chapter 21-26 In I Clan. In Shangliang Mountain's first inner city, Shang Xinci was handling the clan affairs. Second inner city's reparations are finished. The fake goo incident has also been settled. Shang Xinci inspected an information path mortal goo in her hand with a slight smile on her face. She then used her primeval essence to add new content into this information path goo worm. She made a decision that all the items in Shang Clan's managed stores would be sold at a discount, with the reason being the losses to the goo masters because of the fake goo incident. Like this, we can greatly increase Shang Clan's reputation as well as earn primeval stones and make up for the losses caused by the double compensation. Shang Xinci's delicate fingers loosened, and this information path mortal goo let out a light as it flew out of the study room. Shang Xinci picked up another information path mortal goo on the desk. The mortal goo's information came from Shang Yuan. Ever since Shang Buli resigned, Shang Xinci handed the task of managing Shangliang Mountain's market to Shang Yuan. The information in the mortal goo said that there were a group of merchants who were hoarding goods to push up the prices. Shang Yuan's suggestion was to kill them all, for their own self-interests. These people have harmed countless ordinary people. Shang Xinci sighed in her head. She pondered and wrote a new message in the information path mortal goo. Only kill the main culprit. Let go of the others. After this information path goo worm also flew out, she looked at the third information path goo worm that contained a request for help. In the periphery of Shang Clan's territory, a village encountered a beast tide and was in danger of being exterminated. This village was a Shang Clan vassal, but they only had several rank 3 goo masters and had little to no presence. Saving people is like quelling a fire. Such distress calls should have been delivered urgently. Why did it come through the regular affairs channel? Shang Xinci frowned. She understood the reason. Her subordinates knew that, with her nature, she would definitely spare no effort to rescue them. But the current situation was the opening stage of the Great Era. All kinds of inheritances were being fought over. Both mortals and immortals of Shang Clan were extremely busy. Taking out some of their manpower to do this arduous and fruitless rescue task was a huge loss of human resources, as well as a loss of future profits. Considering the time, it might be too late already. The hearts of the people. Oftentimes, Shang Xinci felt her own insignificance. Like now, she could only sense her subordinates' thoughts but was unable to change them. The longer she held this Shang Clan leader position, the more she felt her powerlessness. Compared to Shang Clan, or even the entire world, she was really nothing important. Maybe this is the reason why almost all goo cultivators stake their lives on chasing strength. Shang Xinci pondered for a while, but still decided to assign a group of goo masters to commence on the rescue. Even though it was very likely for that village to have already been destroyed by the beast tide by the time the rescue team set off. The fourth information path mortal goo mentioned good news that a new chi path resource point was discovered in the surroundings of Shangliang Mountain, and required Shangliang Mountain to station some force there or support the nearby village. Shang Xinci let go of the information path mortal goo one by one. Occasionally, goo worms would fly into the study room. Unknowingly, night passed and dawn arrived. A dazzling information path mortal goo flew in front of Shang Xinci. Shang Xinci's mind jolted. A task from the higher-ups. Shang Xinci quickly took the goo and looked into it. This information path mortal goo's content was indeed about a huge matter. The matter concerned the contest for fur-blessed land. This fur-blessed land was located at the central region of southern border and contained fur true inheritance. It was exposed because of the chi tide. Because of its remote location, it did not belong to any one of southern border's super forces, so it was fought over by all the super clans. Righteous Path goo immortals discussed and decided to send out goo masters to determine the winner. Goo immortals were not to interfere. The information path mortal goo also had some secret information regarding the owner of the blessed land for immortal. This immortal was a dual cultivator in wood path and transformation path. But she did not have an excellent method and was only carelessly dual cultivating. It led to conflict between wood path and transformation path down marks. Her battle strength was low her whole life, and she was the target of bullying in the goo immortal world. None of the super forces have an interest in such a true inheritance, except the Blessed Land's location holds true value. It is not within our borders. In the event that our Shang clan wins in this contest and obtains this blessed land, it is only an exclave which will be difficult to manage. But this territory can be transacted. I believe those super forces near the blessed land will definitely be willing to purchase it. The curtain to the great era was pulled upon. There would definitely be huge commotion and unrest in the future at that time. This kind of blessed land would be a bridgehead for the super forces to expand their territories, or be an important frontline defense area. Its value was high. After all, these southern border super forces might not have any methods to relocate immortal apertures. Shang Xianci evaluated inwardly. Benefiting from the change in eras, she was exposed to even more information on Gu immortals than Shang Yanfei when he had been a clan leader. Thus, even though Shang Xianci was only a rank 5 Gu master, she had a deep understanding of the Gu immortal world situation. This is the most important priority for Shang clan. Time is pressing. It must be dealt with immediately. Shang Xianci felt troubled. Despite having recruited Shang Qionyou, Shang Qi1, and the rest, at the crucial moment, she had too few subordinates. Feng Tianyu is not only a refinement pathmaster, but has rank 5 cultivation as well. I can let him take on the role of the head this time. Shang Xianci summoned Feng Tianyu as she thought this. Soon, Feng Tianyu received the message and went up to the study room. Enter. Shang Xianci willed, and the study room's door opened slowly. Her study room was a mortal Gu house. Feng Tianyu had an excited expression. Clan leader, I have good news to tell you. Oh, what news? Shang Xianci asked with a smile. Feng Tianyu. I have been researching that strange mudman over these days, and I have discovered a shocking secret. This mudman might be crazy and disorientated in thoughts, but he responds properly as long as we ask one question at a time. I asked him question after question like this and learned of his origin. His name is Nijian. He had been a young clan leader of a village. One day, a demonic path expert appeared and slaughtered everyone in the village, including him. But after he died, he was revived by a Chi Path Gu immortal. This Chi Path Gu immortal inquired about the culprit, and after getting the answer, he was disregarded and left alone. This mudman Nijian was extremely strong, having near immortal level strength, but after such a long time, he has weakened to this state. I did not expect this mudman to have such an amazing history. Shang Xianci sighed. But how did such an ordinary village get connected to a Gu immortal? Feng Tianyu said with even more excitement. This is the point that I pursued. I found that Ni clan's people have a huge secret. Once in a while, a Gu master in Ni clan will awaken their bloodline. If they survive, an immortal Gu will grow inside their body. Immortal Gu? Shang Xianci's brows rose subconsciously. This immortal Gu was the reason for the Gu immortal's attention. Feng Tianyu's eyes shone. This is too strange. A mortal Gu master's body can actually give birth to an immortal Gu. More importantly, the slaughtered Ni clan village was only a separated branch. There are many other clan branches that are blood-related to him in several areas of southern border. Shang Xianci asked, So you are thinking of? Feng Tianyu nodded. Right. I want to request clan leader to allow me to investigate this huge secret. If we can grasp this kind of refinement path method, we can refine immortal Gu while only being mortals. Shang Xianci pondered before saying. Then, go ahead with it. I will send some people to help you. No need. No need. Feng Tianyu shook his hand. I am a rank 5 Gu master. Even if rank 4 Gu masters accompany me, they will only slow me down. Moreover, if such a contribution can be made, it will definitely be huge. I need to accumulate contribution points to have hope of seeing Lord Fang Yuan in the future. Shang Xianci nodded. Seeing that Feng Tianyu's attitude was so resolute, she could only let him go. Inside the sovereign immortal aperture, many yellow heaven. A group of Gu masters with the same surname arrived beside the gold fragment current. An old clan leader, whose hair had gone white and had rank 5 cultivation, stood with his back facing the gold fragment current as he called out towards the group of people. It has been about a dozen years since we mysteriously arrived at this place from southern border. Although I don't know what the reason is, it is definitely the doing of a Gu immortal level existence. Our Ni clan bloodline is all gathered in this place. Over this dozen years, our Ni clan has been developing and growing. The number of our Gu masters has increased by 10 times. However, recently, the weather of this mysterious place has become uncertain with dangers emerging constantly. Right now, in front of us, we have a life and death crisis. The gold fragment current is continuing to rise in water level. We must create more channels for the current. Otherwise, when the water overflows and turns into a flood, the surrounding 1,000 li will be completely submerged. We will lose our home and will no longer be able to live here. Chapter 21-27 Sovereign's Commotion. Chapter 21-27 Sovereign's Commotion inside the sovereign immortal aperture, mini Western Desert. An enormous pitch-black city occupied the desert. This was a large city with rigid structure. The entire city was a hexagon, and its walls had gone through the weathering of time. The city walls were more than 200 li long. They were 100 feet tall and tens of feet thick. If a person stood on the grassland, they would see what looked like a huge black beast sprawling. If they got closer, they would need to raise their heads to look up at the huge city gate and walls. Every edge of the city had defensive towers that were filled with countless holes that could shoot out arrows. Every few li apart, there would be a wide path for horse carriages to move on. There were even very secretive armories within the city walls. Passing the city walls, one would arrive at the vibrant world within. The city had many streets and shops. There were great numbers of houses and palaces. People and carriages were bustling. There was an endless flow of activity. Loud noises could be heard constantly. This was truly a lively city. This was Inkman's city. It was created by the legendary Inkman immortal Yan and was a smaller version of Emperor City. Later, it was captured by Fang Yuan and moved to mini Western Desert IT this time. Two Inkman Gu immortals, Mo Tansang and Mo Chi-E, were floating in the air and looking at the surroundings with grave expressions. These toxic vines and windmill trees have spread over 10 li in just 3 days. They are only around 20 li from Inkman City. Mo Tansang said. Mo Chi-E frowned. We have already cleared them up over 10 times, but every time we exterminate them, they grow back rapidly. Are we going to have to relocate again? Right now, the surroundings of Inkman City were covered in vegetation. These vegetation were formed from purple-black toxic vines and huge azure gold windmill trees. It was like a terrifying tsunami of plants engulfing everything in its path at Mo Chi-E's side. These vegetation have already started producing desolate plants. It is even more difficult for us to clear them up now. If we are not able to get rid of the source, even if we clear them up for thousands of times, we won't be able to solve the root issue. I thought we had moved to a good place, but I did not expect the environment here to be dozens and even 100 times worse than Northern Plains. Mo Tansang patted Mo Chi-Yi's shoulder. Master has already sent people to help us. It is better if you speak less of such complaints. Mo Chi-Yi immediately kept quiet. His master was the #1 demon in the present world, a ruthless and vicious existence. Look, our reinforcements have arrived. Mo Tansang suddenly pointed towards the faraway horizon with Mo Chi-E looked towards the direction and saw 4 Gu immortals flying over. There were 2 snowman Gu immortals, 1 hairy man Gu immortal, and 1 mushroom man Gu immortal. Among them, 1 snowman female immortal was tall and vibrant. She had blue eyes and hair and looked pure and noble. She was Mo Tansang, and Mo Chi-E quickly went forward to greet them. Shui-Er's identity was special. Back then, because of what happened with Fang Yuan and her, on the surface, Shui-Er's identity was Fang Yuan's fiancée. Naturally, Fang Yuan had never acknowledged it, but he had not denied it either. The Snowman tribe, especially the Snowman Gu immortal behind Shui-Er, Bing Yuan, was always trumpeting about this relationship, which led to every Gu immortal in the sovereign immortal aperture knowing of it. I did not expect Lady Shui-Er to come personally. With your help, my Inkman City's crisis can be considered to be resolved. Mo Tansang and Mo Chi-E flattered. Shui-Er. Inkman and Snowman might be of different races, but both sides have already cooperated back when we were in Northern Plains. I came this time to help you too, as well as to request for you to come back to help my Snowman tribe once this matter is resolved. The Snowman tribe was living in many northern plains and had also encountered trouble. The two Inkman immortals quickly expressed they would give full support. Fang Yuan. We have already investigated the situation on our way. I and Shui Air will activate ice and snow killer moves to freeze and slow down the growth of the vegetation to buy time for you. The Hairy Mangu immortal. I brought a large number of Hairy Mangu masters with me. We will modify Inkman City into one entity, forming a large goo house. It will be extremely convenient for you to relocate in the future. The Mushroom Mangu immortal. I can solve the issue of the toxic vines. These toxic vines are a disaster to you, but they are superior cultivation resources for my Mushroom Man tribe. Moreover, I have already found the source of the toxic vines. By fighting poison with poison, I can make use of the toxic vines to fix this area of vegetation and stabilize it for some time. The two Inkmangu immortals showed both joy and new worries. Mo Tan Sang asked the Hairy Mangu immortal. Back in northern plains, Inkman City had a population of over 800,000. It has already crossed 1,200,000 now. Modifying Inkman City will probably have some effect on the residents. Master had instructed me to preserve the lives of the residents and help them progress with all my strength. The Hairy Mangu immortal raised his hand and interrupted Emotin saying, "You don't need to be too worried. Our Langya sect has already received Master's command to modify all the cities in the sovereign immortal aperture. Every city has a specific blueprint. Most of them will become mortal goo houses, while several large cities will be raised to become immortal goo houses. I need to congratulate you too. Inkman City is one of the cities chosen to become an immortal goo house." Mo Tan Sang and Mo Chi looked at each other. Seeing the excitement on each other's faces, Mo Tan Sang was speechless and could not help asking, "Isn't this too big of an investment? Master is actually so resolute. I naturally hope for such things to happen more often. But if this delays Master's cultivation and uses up a lot of Master's immortal goo, then wouldn't it be our fault?" The Hairy Mangu immortal laughed loudly. "You are underestimating Master. How can you estimate Master's might and plans? Master's refinement path attainment has already surpassed the predecessors, reaching a level that you and I are unable to speculate. This evaluation was not made by me. Langya Land Spirit personally said it. Currently, it is extremely easy for Master to refine immortal goo. You have not seen those blueprints. They are all different and ingenious. Just choose one of them. It will take those ordinary goo immortals several years or even a dozen years to design them. But Master casually drew them within a few minutes. Master's attainment and wealth rivals the scale of mountains and seas. This investment you see is just an insignificant amount to Master." This Hairy Mangu immortal's face was filled with fanatical reverence when he talked of Fang Yuan. "I was wrong. I should be punished." Mo Tan Sang quickly apologized. That Mushroom Mangu immortal added, "Although us mushroom men have moved to this world just recently, we were immediately certain of the boundless potential of this world. To create the sovereign immortal aperture, Shadow Sect used up all of their accumulations. The important thing is it is able to show infinite grandeur in the hands of a divine hero like Master. Every time Master annexes a grotto heaven or blessed land, there will be a huge surge of Dao marks in the sovereign grotto heaven, and a large number of territories will be added out of nowhere. Just take these toxic vines. This species has never appeared in the 5 regions, and their toxicity is extremely strong." The Mushroom Mangu immortal addressed Fang Yuan as Master. It was natural and without any hesitation. Although they had joined only recently, they were extremely optimistic and excited about their future. Many southern bordered the base of Firebird Mountain, Shircheng, Shirzong, and other Rockmangu immortals were controlling an immortal goo formation as the immortal goo formation started activating. The shaking Firebird Mountain reluctantly calmed down. Success. Shircheng let out a breath of air and relaxed his mind. Shirzong said, "Master annexed Fireplane Grotto Heaven, as well as immortal apertures of its immortals and Fireplane Grotto Lord, causing a huge increase in Fire Path Dao marks in the sovereign immortal aperture. This Firebird Mountain is a volcano and almost erupted because of this. Fortunately, we discovered it in time and set up an immortal formation to suppress it. But from now on, someone needs to stay and preside over the immortal formation." Sure, Chung nodded. We need to do that. But the number of Gu immortals we can mobilize are already few, and now we are going to have one fewer. Shizong heaved a sigh. Yes. We are already hard-pressed to control these territories. It can be imagined how troublesome it is for Master to look after the whole sovereign immortal aperture. Sure, Chung. Didn't Master take in many members of the variant human alliance and station them everywhere in the sovereign immortal aperture to salvage the situation? There is no choice. Master annexed too frequently in this period of time. There is a huge increase in Dao marks and countless resources of every path. Shizong shook his head. What kind of person is Master? He should have already known of these demerits beforehand. We don't need to be concerned for Master. It is better if we look after our territories properly. Like this Firebird Mountain, it is not feasible to suppress it with just the immortal formation. We must modify this Firebird Mountain and make it adapt to the changed environment. Sure, Chung agreed. Yes, the resources in the past all developed naturally bit by bit over a long period of time. But here, there are huge increases in Dao marks. Even this volcano was at the point of erupting. We must modify and quicken the volcano's adaptation process artificially. It is just that fire path is not the specialty of us rockmen. We need to send a request to Star Collection City. Mini Blue Heaven, Star Collection City. This was managed by the previous generation's combat beast king, in the pursuit battle against Fang Yuan. This rank 8 Gu immortal had made a great contribution by resisting the tribulation formed from 3,000 heaven path Dao marks. After that, Fang Yuan personally healed him. Fang Yuan had annexed too many apertures, causing instability in the sovereign immortal aperture. Fang Yuan then arranged Star Collection City as the main city and ordered the combat beast king to oversee the overall internal affairs of the sovereign immortal aperture. The issue of Inkman City at Mini Western Desert has been resolved. Mini Southern Borders Firebird Mountain was suppressed by using the formation. But they want Fire Path Gu immortals to go modify the volcano? This needs to be coordinated. At this time, an information path Gu worm flew over while making loud sounds. Combat Beast King's expression changed. Where did the rank 8 disaster appear again? He quickly inspected the Gu worm and found that the source of the disaster was a huge fire rain formed in Mini Red Heaven. Fire rain often appeared in Mini Red Heaven, and after the increase in fire path Dao marks, its emergence had become much more frequent. But this wave of fire rain was different. It kept on growing and shot through a charcoal lake. Forming rank 6 level killer move meteor rained as the meteor rain entered Mini Orange Heaven. Its strength increased to rank 7 level as it entered Mini Yellow Heaven. It resonated with metal path Dao marks, and its might increased to rank 8. Damn it. Only I can deal with this disaster. But it is already too late to go and resolve it now. Combat Beast King's face was slightly paled. He came from Beast Calamity Grotto Heaven. The Gu immortals there felt that it was their responsibility and glory to protect mortals. Combat Beast King's heart was in deep pain. I cannot salvage this. This disaster covers 1,000 lead dozens of resource points, as well as the human Ni clan and Rockman Metal Water Branch tribe will be annihilated. Chapter 2128, Hu Land Projection. 2128, Hu Land Projection. Ni clan's Gu masters were using all their strength to deal with the gold fragment current. They first used mortal Gu to make a grand embankment. Then they dug a canal to draw away a portion of the river. The rising gold fragment current was gradually receding. However, a large number of life forms lived in the gold fragment current. Ni clan's army had invaded the territory of the river fish, frightening these fish monsters. All kinds of river monsters swam to the surface and attacked. Some even charged to the shore and attacked Ni clan's Gu masters while letting out strange sounds. Ni clan specialized in Earth Path. Their basic Gu worm was rank 1 Mud Gu. Earth Path specialized in defense. Ni clan Gu masters had constructed lines of defense and were prepared for the fight. But the number of river monsters was high, and they even had stronger myriad beast kings. Under the frantic offensive waves of the river monsters, the defensive lines of Ni clan's Gu masters broke one by one. Persevere. Kill. Avenge our clansmen. Hold on and carve the future of our clan. Mud and blood splattered everywhere. Groups of goo masters rotated as they resisted the attacks of the river monsters. The Ni clansmen were brought into the sovereign immortal aperture and had been secretly nurtured by Fang Yuan. The number of their goo masters had increased by a lot. Adding on the strong survival pressure in mini Yellow Heaven, these Ni clansmen had to unite and foster a harmonious environment. In this defensive battle, Ni clan's army showed astonishing battle strength and resolute fighting spirit. Finally, there were fewer river monsters, and Ni clan's army was able to hold on. They then began their counterattack. The river monsters did not have much internal organization from the start, and under this sudden change of situation, they began to collapse. Rapidly, the Ni clan goo masters carved a path of blood, leaving behind countless river monster corpses in their way. These corpses were goo materials. They were rich battle spoils, and Ni clan goo masters killed their way to the gold fragment current. Various kinds of goo worms were activated. Their attacks landed on the river, raising countless dazzling golden waves. We won. Quick, set up the goo formation. It is not the time to rejoice yet. Yes, we must quickly set up the goo formation, otherwise new waves of river monsters will come out. Ni clan goo masters were setting up the formation with all their efforts. They had meticulously prepared for over half a year for this, making proper plans and arrangements. However, just as the goo formation was about to finish setting up, the whole gold fragment current and the cloud soil they were on began to vibrate. What's going on? The river monsters are attacking again. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Look up. Oh heavens. Goo masters exclaimed in shock. When they looked towards the sky, they all stiffened like rocks, because they saw the meteor rain falling from the sky. Some of these meteors were only the size of a small field, while some were as large as a mountain, and there were tens of thousands of them. The large number of meteors whistled through the air, leaving behind blazing trails in their path as they pressed through the atmosphere and rained down with an irresistible momentum. We're doomed. The faces of Ni clan's goo masters were deathly pale. Does heaven want to exterminate my Ni clan? In the deathly silent battlefield, an elderly Ni clan goo master howled with grief and fury. I am not ready to die like this. The current generation Ni clan leader, who was also the current generation Ni Xiang, clenched his fists. We were close to success. My clan sacrificed so much to curb the flood. The beautiful future was already in sight. But now we are going to die. Everyone was hopeless. Nature's might was so horrifying that these Ni clan goo masters did not even have the thought of resisting. They all felt their insignificance. This was the sorrow and helplessness of the weak. But right at this time, the sky that was lit by the meteor rain dimmed suddenly. Howl, howl, howl. Ni clan goo masters heard waves of cries which seemed to have come from the 9 layers of hell. Temperature began to fall down rapidly, and the countless goo masters felt their hearts shaking. What is that? O lords in heaven! A black giant! The Ni clan goo masters were horrified and in despair as they watched the scene before them with wide eyes. They saw a giant appearing slowly. It was pitch black, like the abyss. Its body was so large that when it bent its leg, a huge shadow was cast on the ground as the giant stood up. Its height was even more horrifying, directly reaching the sky with clouds floating beside its shoulders. The black giant had 2 heads. Its terrifying 4 eyes let out a dark, malevolent light that seemed to shoot through the sky. Its hundreds of hands were raised high with their claws opened, forming a scene like that of an extremely ferocious and strange forest. One of the pitch black giant's head opened and breathed out a dark soul river. The soul river was tumultuous, whipping up astonishing waves that drowned a large number of meteors. The giant's other head opened and sucked in. Many small meteors were directly absorbed into its stomach. Bam, bam, bam. Its ghostly claws and giant arms moved through the air, catching the hill-sized meteors. Waves surged up and down in the Ni clansmen's hearts. It is truly capable of holding up heaven and earth, picking moon and stars at will. This world was actually concealing such a terrifying monster. Compared to this giant, our Ni clan cannot even be considered as ants. Almost the entire meteor rain was stopped by the giant. Only some fragments fell to the ground. Some of these fragments fell on the gold fragment current, and some fell on the cloud soil. They would definitely bring unknown influences to the original ecology. The meteor rain died down, and the giant also left, the enormous body slowly disappearing from the Ni clansman's sight. After a long while, the surviving Ni clan Gu masters erupted with cheers, and the greatest contributor to this, the black giant, turned into a ray of soul light that entered Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal body. Indeed, this black soul giant was the soul of Fang Yuan's main body. After Fang Yuan inherited Shadow Sect's true inheritance, he had gained the supreme cultivation method of soul path. This method divided soul cultivation to 2 layers. First layer was human soul, the cultivation starting from single-man soul to 100-man soul, 1,000-man soul, until the highest 100-million-man soul. 100-million-man soul was the limit of human soul, where it turned from phantom to solid and could interfere with the material world. The second layer was desolate soul. Because Fate Gu was damaged by Red Lotus Demon Venerable, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable found a way to break through the limit of human soul. Once the soul broke through to desolate soul, the soul's essence would transform, the soul alone possessing desolate beast-level battle strength. Fang Yuan's soul had already reached desolate soul level. His soul cultivation had never stopped, and now had already reached 60 million desolate soul. 10 desolate soul, 100 desolate soul, 1,000 desolate soul, 10,000 desolate soul, 100,000 desolate soul, million desolate soul, 10 million desolate soul, and 100 million. Desolate soul, reaching 100 million desolate soul, meant the 3-headed 1,000 arms demon soul, which possessed quasi-rank 9 battle strength. The soul could directly resist calamities and tribulations, defying the heavens and stamping the earth, slaughtering deities and ghosts, shocking the world with unmatched might. This was the peak level of soul foundation, and also the limit that the world could contain. 100 million desolate soul had 3 heads and 1,000 arms. Fang Yuan had not reached that level yet. Fang Yuan's soul cultivation was similar to the previous spectral souls. They both had 2 heads and over 600 arms. Soul cultivation is really amazing. Just the soul itself has pseudo-venerable battle strength. If it uses immortal essence, it can even activate killer moves. More importantly, such killer moves aren't used through Gu worms, but through the arrangements of Dao marks like a natural ability. Fang Yuan ruminated. His soul manifestation had breathed out a tumultuous soul river, which was referenced from Spectral Soul's ability during the pursuit against Fang Yuan. According to Spectral Soul's techniques, Fang Yuan transformed the reference soul path killer move into soul path Dao marks and engraved them on his soul. Thereupon, this soul river killer move became an innate ability of Fang Yuan's soul. As long as the related arrangement of Dao marks was not destroyed, Fang Yuan could quickly activate this killer move without a need for Gu worms. This was an extremely simple, convenient, and quick method. Soul cultivation innate abilities, totem killer moves, as well as formation path great grandmaster that can use natural Dao marks to set up the formation. They are all the same in the end. With the supply from Fang clan, I don't lack soul cores, and it is not difficult to cultivate to the peak 100 million desolate soul. This method can be one of my trump cards. It cannot be revealed casually. The 5 regions and 2 heavens were monitored by Heaven's will at all times. If Fang Yuan used this method in the outside world, it would be known by Heaven's will. There was no such threat inside the sovereign immortal aperture. Let's look at the situation now. Fang Yuan activated cooking luck pot and observed his luck. Fang Yuan frowned. His luck did not look good to this time. His silver light pillar had become increasingly loose and was actually showing a sign of collapse. Those 3 clouds above the silver light pillar had also changed. The starlight cloud occupied the highest position. This signified star constellation Immortal Venerable was the greatest threat. Below this was Spectral Soul's pitch-black luck cloud. Although it was suppressed by the starlight cloud, it had spread some darkness that penetrated into Fang Yuan's silver light pillar like roots, showing signs of taking root and sprouting. And the golden cloud that represented Giant Sun had become much thicker. Although it was below the other 2 clouds, it showed signs of accumulating energy and biding its time. And besides the previous clouds, an anomaly had also appeared around the silver light pillar. The indistinct shadow of a raised hill was projected on the surface of the silver light pillar, southern border. The travel-worn Feng Tianyu stopped his footsteps. He was gasping for air. I have finally arrived. Feng Tianyu's journey was arduous. He wanted to find other branch villages of An clan, but found nothing. That went without saying. Fang Yuan had already moved all the An clansmen into his aperture long ago. Feng Tianyu was not able to make any contribution and was extremely disappointed. But on his way, he found that this mud monster Jian could devour mud goo materials to increase its strength. All the Ni clansmen have disappeared mysteriously. If I return in disgrace like this, I won't be able to give any explanation, and it is also not my style. I might as well raise this mud monster's battle strength, and when Shang Xinci questions me after I return, I can give a proper reply. Therefore, Feng Tianyu moved around until he arrived at Rotten Mud Mountain. Rotten Mud Mountain might not be too famous, but it was still considered a famous mountain. Although there were poison path Dao marks, it mostly contained earth path Dao marks. These mud goo materials were everywhere on the mountain and were suitable for feeding Jian. It seems like a beast tide occurred here. The goo master village down the mountain is also destroyed. Alright, let me explore it alone. Feng Tianyu had rank 5 cultivation and also had Jian with him. He moved up the mountain and gave the suitable mud goo materials to Jian to devour. After several days and nights in the mountain, Feng Tianyu arrived in an area. Suddenly, Jian spat out the mud goo materials. What's going on? The mud here actually contains chi path Dao marks. Feng Tianyu was astonished after investigating the reason. Chapter 21-29, Golden Red Armor. 21-29 Golden Red Armor. This luck. Fang Yuan frowned slightly. Over this period of development, his luck had some growth, but the suppression from the 3 venerables had become even more clear now. I am growing day by day, but the 3 venerables are indeed beyond ordinary. They have stabilized the situation again. There may be some changes if my luck manages to solidify. Fang Yuan sighed inwardly to at present. He needed to stabilize the sovereign immortal aperture. The troubles in the sovereign immortal aperture were continuing to increase. Unlike Fang Yuan's previous expectations where he thought the abnormal changes would decrease with time. With no choice, Fang Yuan placed many of the variant human alliances goo immortals inside. With these goo immortals working day and night along with himself taking frequent action, they managed to stabilize the unrest in the sovereign immortal aperture for the time being. Moreover, he still needed to create a suitable combat system, and the most important thing was to become venerable in refinement path. Becoming a venerable would produce qualitative change. Refinement path was divided into 2 major goo refinement styles, Hairy Man Heaven and Earth style and Human Isolation style. Fang Yuan's Hairy Man Heaven and Earth style had already reached the peak, and he could not improve anymore. Currently, he was exploring the peak of Human Isolation style that he gained a huge insight from Qing Chao style and the accumulate virtue goo refinement technique of Paradise Earth's true inheritance. And the Ni clansmen could condense immortal goo in their bodies. It was the result of Ni clan goo immortal Ni run using a human path goo refinement technique back then. In fact, this was very similar to Red Lotus Demon Venerable's method of destroying fate goo and preventing it from emerging again. If I can reverse deduce Ni Ren's goo refinement technique from Ni clan, I will be able to fill a huge gap in refinement path. Maybe I can even ascend to refinement path Supreme Grandmaster. The best situation was if Fang Yuan could ascend to Venerable before entering Crazed Demon Cave. That would be the most stable if he could not become a refinement path Venerable before then. The second best would be to raise his strength to the limits. Point 1 was to get rid of the problems in the Sovereign Immortal Aperture and annex all the 2 Heavens Grotto Heavens, reaching the maximum accumulation. Second was to form his own combat system. Crazed Demon Cave was the greatest challenge Fang Yuan would face, because he was not facing just one immortal venerable, but several. Currently, it looked like there was only Star Constellation, Spectral Soul, Giant Sun, Paradise Earth, and Limitless. But almost all the other venerables had entered Crazed Demon Cave and explored it. When the time arrived, who would decide to jump out would be really uncertain. Especially when the River of Time was so chaotic. Even if Fang Yuan's Spring Autumn Cicada was raised to rank 8, it could not be used. Fang Yuan only had one chance. Finally, Fang Yuan's gaze moved to the surface of the Pillar of Silver Light. The previous clouds represented Heaven's envy immortal goo. Fang Yuan already knew of it. But what was this indistinct projection of a protruding hill? Fang Yuan was not sure. Southern border, rotten mud mountain. Nature is really amazing. There are actually chi path goo materials in this rotten mud mountain. Feng Tianyu praised. These goo materials had no value to Nign, because Nign could only recover his strength by increasing his earth path down marks. What Feng Tianyu did not know was that these mud-containing chi path down marks were not a natural creation. It was the result of Kong Sheng Tian's while activating his killer move with the help of Hu Land. Kong Ri Tian, Central Continent's 4 great obscenities, and Wang Xiao Air were able to escape because of this. It was unknown where they were now. This is strange. This amount of chi path mud is quite a lot. Is there a chi path immortal material buried deep under the ground? How could there be so much chi path mud with no rhyme or reason? Feng Tianyu moved around. Feeling increasingly odd, he was a refinement path master and had a lot of knowledge and experience. He searched around before finally stopping at one area and ordered an IGN to dig. However, even after digging for 2 days and nights, Feng Tianyu did not discover any good loot. After Wu Clan's Gu Immortals secretly took away Hu Land, they had naturally cleaned up the scene. Even Gu Immortals would not be able to find out anything from just this chi path mud. After all, chi tides had swept the world before, and chi path Gu materials emerged everywhere. Western Desert, sand heap blessed land was exposed because of chi tides, and Gu masters continued to enter and explore it. However, the environment here was extremely treacherous. Wind raged and carried rough sand that cut like knives on the ground. Sand waves rose and fell. If one was even a little careless, they would be buried under sand waves tens of feet high. The only areas where one could stay in were the sand heaps that appeared inside the sand waves. The sand heaps were of all sizes. Even the smallest ones were the size of a hill. There was space inside the sand heaps. Not only was it tranquil, there were also a large number of cultivation resources this time. Inside a sand heap, a group of Gu masters were surrounding a rank 5 Gu material. The atmosphere was solemn. I saw this wisdom bead grass first. Bullshit. We were clearly the ones who discovered it first. Everyone deserves a share. What is the use in talking about who discovered it first? While the Gu masters were arguing, someone suddenly attacked. The others were caught unprepared, and the person who got sneak attacked was heavily injured, shouting furiously. Mo, you have such guts. You dared to attack me. Other Gu masters immediately split up and stared at the attacker while also being vigilant of one another. This Gu master was a middle-aged, bearded man. He was wearing a white scarf on his head, and his triangular eyes let out a sinister light. He sneered. I was most wary of you. Now that you are heavily injured, my greatest obstacle is gone. Ha ha ha, all of you die. The Gu masters were stunned before erupting with fury. Mo, you have lost your mind. All right. Let me see what ability you have to speak such words. Hee, you have angered all of us. Everyone, attack together. Let's get rid of this bastard first. Facing the group attack, Mo felt even more thirst to battle. Come, I will let you know my true strength. His whole body began shining with blue electricity. He slowly rose to the air. The chaotic and disorderly electric arcs became clear electric threads that covered Mo like they were clothes. The killer move was activated successfully. Mo shouted, "Golden red armor." Crack, crack. Pieces of armor floated out from his body. The 100 or so pieces followed the electric circuit and pieced together into one complete armor, in an instant. Mo was dressed in full body armor. This armor let out metallic light. The golden and red lights emitted a domineering aura. The armored Mo charged at the Gu masters like an eagled at first. The Gu masters attacked wildly, but the golden red armor did not suffer any damage. There was only some soot left on its surface. The Gu masters were pale with shock as they began to evade and defend. The armored Mo only charged around like a brute, and many Gu masters immediately died from the collision. The remaining Gu masters lost their will to fight and began to run everywhere. Mo laughed coldly inside the armor. He then activated the armor's killer move the next moment. The golden red armor stretched out both hands. A circular marking shone on both his palms before several electric arrows flew out abruptly. Swoosh. Swoosh, swoosh. The electric arrows flew with extreme speed, killing all the fleeing Gu masters. The battlefield became quiet immediately. Oli slowly landed on the ground. The golden red armor separated into pieces and disappeared. After that, the electricity-weaved clothing also dissipated slowly. Oli half knelt on the ground. His breathing was rough and his face was sweating profusely. Although this golden red armor has absolute might, the expenditure is too high. In just tens of breaths of time, my primeval essence, stamina, mental energy, and thoughts have been emptied. If not for your complete support, I would have only lasted half the time. Emoli mumbled. Peng Da's soul floated out. Don't we have wisdom bead grass now? We can refine electric brain, one Gu with it. With its addition, the consumption of golden red armor will reduce by more than half, and the time it can be maintained will increase by at least double. Yes. Emoli smiled and picked up the wisdom bead grass. After Emoli killed Peng Da and seized his thieving heaven-true inheritance, he had been cultivating painstakingly. The killer move golden red armor was his greatest achievement. With this killer move, Emoli's battle strength was able to surpass rank 5 Gu masters for a short period of time. And the reason Peng Da was cooperating with Emoli was because Emoli had encountered a life and death crisis before this. If Emoli died, Peng Da's soul would also disappear. Emoli promised Peng Da that as long as he helped, Emoli would help resurrect Peng Da, and Emoli reached an agreement. Let's go. We have ransacked this place already. Emoli came out of the sand heap and arrived outside. The strong wind almost blew him into the sand waves. Emoli activated his defensive method to endure the devastating sandstorm as he observed the surroundings. He could not see other sand heaps and could only sand waves crashing down loudly. Emoli endured for about 7 minutes before he finally saw a new sand heap. Such a large sand heap. This is the largest sand heap I have seen. There must be a lot of resources inside. Emoli was exulted and was just about to jump into it. Suddenly, the sand heap exploded. Several figures flew out of it. Gu immortals. Emoli's heart shook. He immediately retreated. The Gu immortals were fighting in the air. Their fight seemed to shake heaven and earth, and even dispelled the large sandstorm. This is the power of a Gu immortal, so frightening. Even if I have golden red armor, I cannot endure the collateral damage of their confrontation. Emoli watched secretly. His heart jumped wildly, and his mouth was wide. Emoli observed carefully and gradually saw the actual battle situation. Several Gu immortals were attacking one person. This besieged Gu immortal provoked them while laughing wildly without any worries. Amidst the chaotic battle, a shadow suddenly intruded. This intruding Gu immortal left shortly afterwards, disappearing in the blink of an eye. The Gu immortal, who was sneak attacked by this figure, roared, "Ling Husu, you dare to steal my Fang clan's possessions." Ling Husu laughed loudly. "Who asked you to be the nearest person to me? I didn't expect you to actually carry so many soul cores. Looks like Fang clan's plans in Green Ghost Desert were quite successful." The Fang clan Gu immortal was restless and furious. "Ling Husu, I will advise you to leave those soul cores alone. You are provoking a huge trouble." "Haha, will I be intimidated so easily? Goodbye." 1. This has the same characters as computer. Chapter 2130, Pighead Land Spyri. Ling Husu was a Western Desert demonic immortal who cultivated theft path. Gu immortal Fang Dong, she of Fang clan, could not restrain his anger. Sand heap blessed land appeared too suddenly. Fang clan was unable to take out manpower within a short period, and could only mobilize him, who was the nearest to the blessed land. He had not expected that the batch of soul cores he harvested in Green Ghost Desert would be stolen by Ling Husu during the chaotic battle. These soul cores are to be handed to Fang Yuan. I cannot lose them. Fang Dong, she was quite unlucky. He had a lot of resources in his immortal aperture, but what was stolen was the stuff that could not be lost. Fang clan and Fang Yuan's cooperation could not be exposed. Fang Dong, she could not announce it, and could only give chase. Ling Husu's cultivation had recently advanced to rank 7, and his speed was extremely fast. Fang Dong, she had already decided to chase him without resting. But just as he was about to leave, he was obstructed by Shirkang's killer move. "Shirkang, what are you trying to do?" "Fang Dong," she shouted. Shirkang smiled coldly. "Fang Dong," she. You and these people attacked me for so long. And you want to leave just like this? Fang Dongshi's eyelids twitched in anger. Shirkong, you should rejoice that I am not going to attack you. Did you make some agreement with Ling Husu in secret? The Grand Shi clan is actually cooperating with a demonic bastard. The moment Fang Dongshi spoke, he immediately made false charges. But because of this disturbance, Ling Husu had already disappeared. Shirkong laughed madly. I have been in close cultivation for several years. This is my first battle after coming out. It must be famous throughout the world. Don't even think of fleeing. Come fight. All of you are the stepping stones for my name to spread far and wide. The other Gu immortals' faces darkened upon hearing that. Fang Dongshi said through gritted teeth, Shirkong, you are the one who spoke insolently and provoked us, which was why we encircled you. But because we are all from the righteous path, we did not use our full strength. Now, you have not only allied with Ling Husu, you are showing so much contempt towards us. You are really looking for death. Everyone attack. Good. I also want to see what methods Shirkong has gained over these years. Shirkong, I have not seen you for several years, and your guts have become so big. You think only you made progress. This time, Fang Dongshi took the initiative to attack first. Other Gu immortals also attacked seriously from the sides. Fang Dongshi fought for a while before swapping with another Gu immortal. Several Gu immortals fought Shirkong in turns. Shirkong did not get any breather. The pressure on him was several times higher than before. The battle was rapidly becoming disadvantageous to him, but he was laughing with excitement. Come, come. The Gu immortals continued to battle intensely, and having observed the battle for a long while, Imoli flew to that largest sand heap while clenching his teeth. The Gu immortals had flown out of this sand heap. They must have left many resources which had no importance to them. Fortune is found within danger. Imoli was originally a merchant. Right now, his spirit of taking risks was stimulated. Imoli entered the sand heap. He could still hear the sounds of the Gu immortals' battle. Shortly afterwards, he found that his choice was correct. As he moved deeper, he collected a large number of Gu materials on the way. Previously, there were many wild beasts and vicious plants inside the sand heap. But because the Gu immortals had already explored it, the beasts and plants were already killed off. There were corpses of wild beasts everywhere, from 1,000 beast kings to even myriad beast kings. These resources were insignificant to Gu immortals who tossed them aside casually, but they were incomparably abundant gains to It was like he had picked countless battle spoils for free. I have struck it rich. We've struck rich. Imoli was extremely excited. He also saw many giant craters as well as terrifying poisonous blood. It was obvious that the desolate beasts and ancient desolate beasts were taken away by the Gu immortals, but the huge ruins quietly displayed the horror of a mortal fight. If I were exploring it, I might have become food for these ferocious beasts. Thanks to the Gu immortals who explored it already, Imoli entered the core area of the sand heap. Originally, this was the place with the most valuable resources, but Imoli did not make any gains. This place was already ransacked by the Gu immortals. If an immortal material was left out, even if it was only a leaf, it would be an enormous fortune. Imoli was not resigned. He was going to search this area completely. He really ended up discovering a large rock buried under the ground. This is a rank 4 Gu material, flying rock. It contains Chi Path and Earth Path Dao marks. Imoli sighed. This gain was far below his expectations, but it was better than nothing at least. Imoli was just about to lift this flying rock when the rock split apart and a young man fell out from the split rock. What is this? Imoli was shocked before being curious. This youngster was clearly immortal. How could he appear here sealed in the flying rock? Imoli woke up this mortal young man. The young man stated his identity. I am Wang Xiao'er from Central Continent. Uncle, thanks for saving me. Where is this? Imoli gave a malevolent laugh as he grabbed Wang Xiao'er's clothes. Speak. How did you appear here? Wang Xiao'er stammered. I don't know. Back then at southern border's Rotten Mud Mountain, Kong Shengtian's will had activated the immortal move using Hu land and transported everyone. But he had forewarned that the killer move would transport them to random locations. Like that, Wang Xiao'er was sent to Western Desert and coincidentally fell here. And for some unknown reason, he was sealed by the flying rock and fell into deep sleep. Although Wang Xiao'er knew some reasons, he wanted to preserve the secret of the whereabouts of the four great obscenities. Oli had plenty of worldly experiences. He could tell from Wang Xiao'er's expression that he was lying to be at Oli punched Wang Xiao'er so hard that Wang Xiao'er's nose bled. Tell the truth. Tell me everything you know. Otherwise I am going to make you wish for death. Peng Da's soul suddenly came out and stopped Oli. Stop. Oli stared at Peng Da's soul with an ominous gaze. Brat, what are you trying to do? Peng Da's soul said through clenched teeth. Uncle Oli, you are a rank 5 Gu master, and he is only a child, a mortal. Why do you need to resort to cruel means against him? The Uncle Oli that I met was a person who saved me in the desert and told me about living outside and helping each other. Uncle, don't deceive your conscience because of hatred. You are not this kind of person. Shut up. Oli shouted and smacked Peng Da's soul to the side. How do you know that I am not this kind of person? Even if I was not like this before, humans change. Oli walked towards the frightened Wang Xiao'er. Since you don't want to speak, I can only soul search. Wang Xiao'er suddenly screamed, pointing towards Peng Da's soul. Ghost, there is a ghost, a ghost. Peng Da's soul, stop making a fuss. Do you think that I will turn you into a ghost as well? Oli punched Wang Xiao'er to the ground. He had just finished speaking when a strange existence appeared while laughing. Good. Amazing. Young man, I have a high opinion of you. Oli, Wang Xiao'er, and Peng Da's soul turned solemn. The 3 pairs of eyes stared at this existence that had appeared all of a sudden. Wang Xiao'er shouted, a talking pig? But why is there only the head and no body? Oli, however, shook with excitement. Idiot. This is Sand Heap Blessed Land's land spirit. Oli walked towards the land spirit. Speak, land spirit. What is your condition for acknowledging a new master? The pighead land spirit floated above Wang Xiao'er and looked down. My condition is simple. The person who can take the most beatings will be my master. It then laughed towards Wang Xiao'er. Young man, I think highly of you. Peng Da's soul realized at once. I understand. No wonder the Gu immortal named Shirkong was so rampant outside. He is trying to be beaten up through all means. The pighead land spirit smiled. That Gu immortal took a beating from ancient desolate beasts for a while, so he saw me and learned of the conditions to be my master. But he doesn't realize that it is not the one who can take more fierce beatings who will become the blessed land's master. Taking a beating is a grand cause. Not only do you need the ability to resist the beatings, you also need to have a firm and indomitable spirit to take the beatings. Look at this youngster. He is obviously lying, but even if he is beaten and is facing someone he cannot defy, he is still stubborn. This spirit to take a beating is worthy of admiration. So there is this way. Li's eyes shone brightly as he saw hope of contending for the ownership of the blessed land. The battle in the sky was still continuing. But the attacking Gu immortals had started to feel something amiss. Shirkong, is this your strength after close cultivation? You have been beaten to the point where it is difficult for you to even speak. If not for us holding back, you would have already died. A Gu immortal scoffed. Shirkang's face was already swollen and blue from the beating. His vision was blurry, but he still laughed. Nonsense. I fugrat. Peak Conditon. Fight 500 rons. No problem. Another Gu immortal said. On account of our 2 clans' close relationship, Shirkong, just retreat. How much blood have you coughed from the beatings? Any more, and you might not have any left. Shirkong opened his mouth to retort, but coughed out a mouthful of blood. Bullshit. I half lot o' blood, can cough couple fools. Fong Dong, she sneered. Shirkong, even if you are most specialized in defensive killer moves and can turn into a rockman, you cannot hold out for long. You have already become the laughingstock of Western Desert's Gu immortal world in this battle. If we fight any longer, you will be crippled. If you are sensible, then take out some resources to compensate for our losses. My Fang clan will let bygones be bygones. Western Desert's righteous path had rules. They did not go overboard in their contest over the inheritances. These resources in Sand Heap Blessed Land were not worth it to stake their lives. Shirkong was beaten so miserably that it had already surpassed the usual standard of contending. Could they kill him and attract the retaliation of Shir clan, causing this dispute to escalate? This was something that all the Gu immortals, including Fang clan, did not want to see. Shirkong raised his head and was about to speak, but the slight exertion caused his right leg to crack in a crisp sound. Shirkong held his right leg and pressed it on the broken area while activating a killer move. Rocks filled the gap, and his Rockman transformation was back in one piece for the moment. Shirkong still did not want to show weakness. He shouted at Fang Dongshi, "CME, I see in still fight."